A quick disclaimer, thank you very much to Warner Bros. UK for inviting us to Summer Game Fest to capture an early look at Mortal Kombat 1. As is usually the case with pre-release content, I must remind you that everything you see here is subject to change and may not be final. A clear design direction behind the upcoming Mortal Kombat 1 is variety, and presenting the player with a large selection of tools, and allowing a player to be as creative as they can be. Now, with something like that in place, with it brings forward a rather large selection of mechanics, and if you're looking to expand your knowledge of the game, that is what this video is all about. Join us today as we uncover and discuss all present mechanics a player can utilize in Mortal Kombat 1, to get you ready for whatever the future has in store, whether you're able to get into the upcoming online stress test, or even the beta later down the line, and let's not forget the game itself, which is, to be fair, not that far away with a September release. Let's begin with a mechanic that exists before you even press a single attack button: movement. Every game has its own spin on what movement involves, with MK1 being a lot more like MK9 than the other titles there. Pressing forward twice or away twice will activate a dash. This dash can be cancelled out of by pressing crouch or down. Additionally, you can cancel the animation of a dash with an attack button. This is historically used to dash in after a launch or some kind of combo option, to be closer to the opponent with your next follow-up attack. It just makes things a lot more precise, and you'll get comfortable with cancelling a dash with an attack button the more you play the game. From a movement sense, this will potentially be a character-by-character basis, as speed of dashes, or even the base walk speed, can often be an individual strength or weakness depending on who you've chosen for the fight. There's not much else to say about it at this moment, but in early versions of modern MK titles, the movement has often had changes made to be a bit different on release, so please keep that in mind. Let's talk about some defensive options, starting with a new to Mortal Kombat feature called the up block. Up block is a simple mechanic, but one that possibly has a fair few mind games attached to it. Performing it is simple. While holding the block button, press up and your character will enter a new animation for a short time where they're blocking diagonally upwards. This state will make certain attacks more punishable on block, where you can get some good damage on a successful read or reaction. The most common example here is up block punishing a jump attack. You see the jump, you up block accordingly, and if you're correct, you can punish the attack as the opponent hits the floor. It is very simple. Made more so, the up block removes the ability to cancel the air attack into a special. Not that this build really has many characters that you could show that off with. However, something we couldn't capture in time is that the up block also works on overheads, which makes the rushdown game more interesting, as should a character have a safe overhead or something, up block might change that considerably. Only time will tell though. Additionally, in fighting games, an airborne attack is often not as simple as just a jumping attack. Some attacks will take the opponent off the ground to perform it, and it can sometimes count as being in an airborne state. So the sheer amount of what up block could punish remains to be seen and will simply require time to learn properly. It is not a free option, however, as the up block loses clean to low attacks, and it's not a held state either. It is a set animation you have to dedicate to. So an opponent looking to bait this out of you will have options to punish if the up block whiffs completely. Flawless block makes a return from MK11, but in a very different way. The function is still the same. Block an attack in the small time window it demands, and flawless block will activate. In MK11, flawless block led to various punish opportunities, but in MK1, it's a lot simpler and less aggressive. Because Mortal Kombat 1 flawless block has no extra attacks attached to it. Instead, it serves the purpose specifically to reduce the chip damage you've taken from whatever attack you did it to, but also here majorly reduces the meter gained by the opponent's move. The advanced move list does still list flawless block frames as something being sometimes different to potentially make some moves more unsafe, but that's something that we'll have to see with experience and can't really be tested right now. If a character is throwing out tons of projectiles and they're building meter the entire time, Flawless Block changes that. Should you be flawless blocking every ranged option with enough practice, the main thing going down here is the clock, because all of your other resources are not going to change as much. It's an interesting change here, and personally, it's one that I welcome. Combo breakers make their return. The breakaway from MK11 is no more, and we return to a more familiar style of avoiding incoming damage. But once again here, things are quite different. To perform a combo breaker is still the input we all remember. Hold block and forward while being hit in a combo to break the combo and save yourself from the damage, the setup, or sometimes even screen positioning. Remember, some combos have a really good amount of corner carry that you might want to avoid. The difference here is just how much a combo breaker will cost. It costs all 3 bars of super meter, and you must have your Cameo Fighter available at the time, as they are the ones performing the animation. The breaker is by far the most expensive it's ever been in the history of Mortal Kombat, but in this game, you can even break combo fatal blows. The big cinematic super move that, whether it was Fatal Blow or X-Ray, was always unbreakable. That changes here, which in regards to game-changing unbreakable damage, MK1 has certainly made things a lot more interesting. Returning from Mortal Kombat Armageddon, and something I truly never thought we'd see again, but I'm happy to do so, is air combat. Air combat is as it sounds. You can take to the skies and meet the opponent mid-air, extending combo damage with a set amount of air combo strings that will differ heavily from character to character. When an opponent is in the air being hit by something, whether you've air-to-aired them with a single button, whether you've launched them from the ground, simply jump in and meet them, extending your combo with the strings that air combat provides. This changes a great deal depending on what character you're using. Some characters have basic air hits, but you can still use airborne specials to end it with. Some characters have a combo string that will ground bounce and let you land and finish the combo on the ground. It's something that's going to take a lot of lab time to really figure out with your character and cameo combo, as the cameo assists can make air combat even more deadly if they can extend damage even further. This mechanic is something I truly cannot wait to see more of, because if you're a player who loves to do combos, this is the feature, combined with cameo assists, that will have so much fun for a player diving into. And I love Armageddon, so I can tell you, I'm so happy to see it back. Cameo Fighters are something I recently took a deep dive into in one of our videos, so for the full breakdown I highly urge you to check that out if you haven't already. However, for the sake of this video, and it being the main mechanic of the game, I want to give you a quick rundown all the same. Your Cameo Fighter is a separate character you pick in Character Select. They exist to provide support in the match with various tools. For this video, let me just give you the basics on how they can attack. Cameo Fighters have 3 moves they can appear with, and you are in control of whenever that happens. It's all about pressing your Cameo button in combination with a certain movement direction to determine what attack that actually is. The attacks vary from projectiles, wake-up attacks, anti-airs, combo extenders, pretty much anything that could be missing from a base character's toolset. Cameo Fighters are on a cooldown once a move has been performed, and you start the match with a full bar, with each cameo taking half of it. The recharge on it is generous, and you're never too far away to have another cameo attack ready to go. The idea seems rather clear that they're such a massive part of the game that in any given match you will see them a lot in each round. The Cameo Fighters exist to add whatever utility you want, and the moves change drastically from character to character. It will be up to you to experiment and find the best combination that works best. Fatal Blow is Mortal Kombat 1's big cinematic super move. It works similar to MK11, but there are things in place that make the super not as overwhelming as it was in the previous title. It does come back still if it misses, and it still activates when you have about 30% health or lower. First of all, the Fatal Blow has a startup animation this time. This may not sound like a big deal, but trust me, a startup animation like this makes reacting to one that's used randomly a lot easier. Secondly, the startup itself seems to be less safe than it was in MK11. In many capture sessions, you can actually see the attack being stopped due to a lack of armor on startup. And although I do think there is still some armor, it activates a lot later if it's there. And finally, for the first time ever, you can break these with a combo breaker. I'm honestly interested to see how useful a Fatal Blow is now, because there are more things in place that make them not as scary as their MK11 counterpart, but as always, we'll just have to wait and see there. Many people have been asking about wake-up attacks in this game, and here's the deal. There are a few options in place, but it is heavily dependent on your current resources. The first wake-up is a delayed wake-up. Activated by holding the stance change button, it makes you take a little bit longer to get up from the floor. However, there is only one kind of delayed wake-up this time round, and this is your meterless wake-up option. The second is your Cameo Fighter. There are two types of cameo attacks, a summon and an ambush. I explain these differences in detail in our latest video, but all you need to know here is that the summon is an attack that has you stuck in place while the cameo performs it. The summon cameo attack is what can be used as a wake-up option if timed correctly. We've already seen some changes to a cameo attack when used as a wake-up. Sonya's leg grab is usually a launcher, but it will simply knock them down if you use it off the ground. So it's there if you don't have super meter, but it's still a simple wake-up option. The final one uses super meter, and now is a good time to talk about armor in this game. Armored attacks work the way they did in Mortal Kombat X. Some enhanced specials gain a hit of armor that will power through a hit the opponent is currently doing. This armor can be used on wake up, but it doesn't gain any special properties or something. It's simply an armored attack used as you get off the ground. So it's still vulnerable to being broken should a quick 2-hit attack be used meaty. This is the super meter intensive version of a wake up. However, armor combined with the cameo could be quite devastating. Throws have a new dynamic here. Both you and your cameo will be a vital part of the throw game. A reverse throw is always performed by the base character, and a forward throw is always used by the cameo fighter. This means that should a cameo have a powerful throw, it'll be a potential reason to go with that character in the select screen. Should both of you have a powerful throw, that might help too. Some characters have a unique throw. Jax is able to spend meter on his to do more damage, and for 2 bars can get roughly 20% from it, although sadly we didn't have time to capture that one. A simple mention, but an important one, is the throw game, and I'm excited to see how it potentially develops. The final thing today is the super meter. Every character has up to 3 bars of it, and it's used for a variety of different things. It's built by taking damage, performing specials, and having your attacks blocked. The most common use for meter is to enhance specials, to give a special move a new property, where it might do more damage, it might be faster, it might grant new combo possibilities, and also, it might give the attack armor for defensive play. Meter is spent on the combo breaker, as I've already mentioned that a combo breaker requires all 3 bars to perform. Expensive stuff. Saving meter for wake-up options is likely something that will transfer over from MKX. Armor on wake up is always more threatening to prevent you from being overwhelmed, although with how aggressive a player can be thanks to the cameo system, and the fact that the armor we've seen only has 1 hit, I do wonder how useful armor will be in the long run. Because fatal blows require no meter and many characters we've seen have meterless combo options, this super meter could be more utility based than it's ever been before. And it's something I'm here for, as like I said at the start of this video, it's a clear direction to provide options and creativity. So having meter that can be used offensively or defensively is no doubt going to be a very important thing. And that's a current selection of features and mechanics from Mortal Kombat 1. Hopefully this helped some of you understand the game on a slightly deeper level, but honestly there's usually so much information and characters and combat casts that I'm just looking forward to seeing more from the game alongside everybody else, and I cannot wait to start a new MK journey with all of you. One final thank you to Warner Brothers UK for the capture session at Summer Game Fest. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.